You gotta get up. But did me wake up and make a move, oh. 'Cause the world will never see you until you do. They don't really care, see they do you, oh. So make you show them, baby. Oh yeah, show them the real you. Oh yeah, show them what you get. No, 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 don't let them say what you not. I want you strong, oh. You can't break, no. You want more than 1,000 reasons why. You don't need to perfect, baby. 'Cause nobody perfect, darling. No, 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 there's nobody in the world will be like you. What do you do when you can't let go? What do you do when you just don't know how you feel? And you know, say nobody feel your pain. Everybody running, always not day by day with a struggle. For this world, you know you must do hustle. Just know that you're not alone. I'll barely no need for you to the form and only Joshua. Oh. You see, it's okay to ask for help. People go find you, but them not define you. And you'll find people who go help redesign you. People go find you, but them not define you. And you go find people who go help redesign you. See, you are a work of art, but you didn't think you come this far. Now here you are. I'm all you strong, oh. You get brain, no. See, you want beyond 1,000 reasons why. All you no need to perfect, baby. 'Cause nobody perfect, darling. No, 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 there's nobody in the world but be like you.
Oh no. Okay, welcome to another edition of the Touch Yourself Show. Sorry, there was some technical hitch there. And you're welcome to today's edition, episode 5 of the Touch Yourself Show with Toyin and the gang, the show that aims to educate you about things around sickle cell, not just from the health perspective. And today we'll be talking about an issue that is facing us, not just for people with sickle cell, but generally every child, every parent, every teacher in the nation and worldwide are facing these issues regarding education and learning. So we're going to be talking about this issue with a very special guest. And before I bring her on, I'll like to tell you that this show is supported by the Public Affairs section of the US Consulate, and it's also produced by Sickle Cell Advocacy and Management Initiative. I'm your host, Toyin Adeshola. So if you have your comments, you wait till the end, and please put your, or you don't even have to wait till the end, just put your comments on Facebook, on YouTube, where we're streaming live, or you can also send to our WhatsApp handle 0808 4840048, and we'll be glad to hear from you. So I'll bring on my guest now. Hello.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm great. Good evening.
So good evening. My guest
Good
today
evening.
is Aanu Akinola, who has over 20 years experience with young children and their families, creating awareness on the importance of early education. She's currently the center director and founder of Extra O Kids Childcare Center in Sulere and Lekki, and where she leads a team in providing custodial care and educational service to children under 5-year-old, and spearheads the pop-up creche and an off-site center which supports women and families, particularly in professional, religious, and social events, by providing mobile daycare services to them. She is an impactful facilitator and commits to training and mentoring. Thank you again, Anu, for being on this platform as we discuss this issue. It's great
It's
to
a
have you.
pleasure. It's
Okay,
a
I don't know.
pleasure to be
Sorry.
here.
Okay, I hear you now. Yeah, thank you. I hope you can hear me well.
Very well. I can hear you.
Okay, then. All right. Okay, then. So, the first question is, I'll ask, what is actually an educational consultant? What does it involve? What does your work involve? Because I'm used to hearing teacher, principal, headmistress, but or maybe in the ministry you have the ministry commissioner and minister of education. But what does an educational consultant do?
Okay, basically, my work is actually to help people working with young children and young children themselves. So maybe you have a school, or you're a parent and you have young children, or you want to set up a crèche or a preschool, how to go about it. Sometimes we need hand holding. We need people to guide us through that process. And so
Mhm.
that's what I do. Basically, I work with children and people working with children 0 to 5.
Okay. So we know we are in the COVID era. Parents found themselves in this situation of having to manage their children at home with their learning, apart from their learning, or even having them 24 hours a day. I'm sure it's to some parents it was like nightmare. I don't. Some people who always like to look for crashes. I'm sure you experienced that when they just dump them
Yeah.
and they don't come back to you very late to pick them up and all
Money,
that
money
stuff.
is your
So
night.
at this period, exactly, I had a friend who had that all those issues. But what
Mhm.
would you say concerning parents? So I learned their affairs during this period because we don't really know when schools are going to
Mm.
be open. What would you say to them during this period so that they don't get overwhelmed with trying to manage their children this period?
Okay, so I think the first thing I really want to talk about is about that it's a new normal, like we've been calling it. But I've come to realize
Hmm.
that a lot of people respond to change differently. So we have people
Yes.
that immediately this COVID started, they were panicking. So they panicked. Um,
Hmm.
some were a bit confused. So to panic, it's okay. You really don't know what in. You don't know. Okay, will this last for long? Confused. You're just wondering what is going on exactly. And then some people move from that stage. Some people are in the stage of denial. They just don't want to believe that this is happening. No, this cannot happen. So COVID is not. Is just a propaganda.
Hmm.
So some people are in that stage, and some people are in the face of, I cannot change. No, COVID will
Hmm.
just go. Meet me as I am, leave me as I am. I'm not changing. So the first two set of people, the people that are panicking, the people that are confused, is normal. Most people go through that phase. All they just need is somebody to calm them down. And when they're confused, they realize that after the initial, situation, they calm down and they can, get into the flow. Where you should not be as a parent is in the state of denial or in the state of I'm not changing. This is the new normal. We don't know. This might last for several years. Even the effects of it might linger on for 2 years. We never can tell. But the
Wow.
one
Yeah.
thing we're sure of is that the effect of COVID is not going to leave education the same. So it's better that you accept that this change has come. How do I embrace it? What steps do I need to take to be able to, work on this, and move ahead? Because if you remain in the state of denial, it's bad. But in the
Mm,
state of I don't want to change, it's dangerous. So it will affect you as a parent and your child in the long run. So I just want to encourage parents, to relax. Everybody might panic initially, and then we're confused what's all this that's going on. But don't be in the state of denial or in the state of I'm not going to change. So just embrace this time as a good opportunity for you to be with your children. Some people, when they've asked them in time past, what is one thing that you've always wanted to do? They'll say, I want to spend more time with my children.
yes.
Voila, this is the time you've been waiting for. you know I can imagine it could be overwhelming when you have a lot of young children at this stage, and all of a sudden everybody wants to eat like 5 square meal. Online
Yeah.
classes are on. Everybody is expecting you as a mom to also use that time to learn something new, and you're
Mm,
wondering, why do I get the time? So just relax and realize that this season has come and we should embrace it and find what's good out of it. I think
mm.
that's the first thing I would like to say. The second thing
Okay.
I love to say is, like I said, look at the opportunities that are available in this time. You want to say something?
Yeah, no,
You were
go
going to say
ahead.
something, ma'am?
No, go ahead.
Okay. So look at the opportunities that are available. If your children's school has offered online services, embrace it if it's affordable to you. If it's not affordable, there are a lot of schools online offering free services. I know of quite a couple of schools, like the iRead Mobile Library, they're offering free online services for people that cannot afford to, to tag on their school's online service. So you have options online. You also have an option if you are not working from home, if you are less busy as a parent,
Mhm.
to homeschool your child. There are a lot of opportunities online for you to be able to do that and to support your child's learning. Now, the thing you don't want to do is to create a learning gap for your child. Make
That's
sure that your
exactly.
child's mind is open, it's not idle. Yes. They always say that an idle mind is the devil's
The
workshop.
devil's
And
workshop.
the truth is that when your children are growing, especially if they're in the 0 to 5 years, 90% of their brain is developing. So what is happening is that that's the time for you, to put in ideas for them. It's a critical period, it's a sensitive period. So if they are not learning anything, then nothing is growing. If you are not catching
Mm,
something new, you are missing that period. Let me explain what I mean in depth. So if it is a critical period, it means that it's a time that only at which that thing can happen. For
yeah.
example, if your child is between 0 and 6 months, that's the time for your child to develop good eyesight. So if you expose your child to things that can destroy the eyesight, things will go wrong at that time. So that's what I mean by critical. But sensitive period means that it's at that time where you can have things that can be better. So for example, if you expose your child to like as many languages as 5 languages at 0 to 5, that child can learn it and not be confused and say good
Wow.
morning, bonjour, Ekaro, and master it. I have tried to attend Alliance Francais like 3 times and I paid with my money. One was offered to me as a gift. And I still cannot go past bonjour, comment ça va, you know. Of course, that is not to say that that is not to say that adults cannot learn a new language. But what he's
Language, yeah.
saying that there are sensitive periods that your child is better able to grasp new concepts. So
Exactly.
the long and short is that the long and short is that you don't want to leave that period, doing nothing. Make sure that
Mm.
you're engaging your child, however little. Form a routine in the day. Make sure that maybe in the morning you have set a timetable. Most children are used to routine in schools. So to help your child also navigate this period, set a routine, involve them, even if it's just 10 minutes a day. Engage them in some mental exercise, something that can help their brain and their mind to grow. Don't leave, don't create learning gaps. Well, education is not on break. You can learn every time. And it doesn't have to be book, book, book. It can be while in the
Exactly. And
kitchen.
acquire new skills.
Yes. So you can do a lot.
All right. Okay, so we've been talking about online now. One thing I've realized is that there's people who have the advantage of affording to be online, but people from the public schools now. I know the Lagos State government has at various levels has tried to do radio class and all that. But how effective do you think is this? Because I was even listening to the Commissioner of Education, and she was saying that even there are some people who don't even have that opportunity to even have radio
Yeah.
phone to
That's
even listen to
yeah.
the. So how do you think such people can balance their education? Because definitely with that there will be a major. We already have the income gap. We don't want that wide education gap, as it's already bad as it is. But then between incomes, you don't want to make it like so drastic that the education gap would also suffer. So how do you balance such issues?
Okay, so I will say that I'll say two things. The first is I'll say to the parent. The second is that we need to have a government that is responsible. But I'll
Mm,
start with the parent. So the parent, take care of yourself if nobody takes care of you. What I mean is that look for ways that you can support your child's learning before I go to part two. So if your child's school, if you cannot afford a transistor radio or a radio to be able to listen to the online classes, or you can't afford data, your child's school might have the opportunity of giving you the textbooks that the children were using. Or if you have
mm,
them, most parents buy the textbooks themselves, so they own them. So you can begin to engage your children with a few things. I know that you might not know all the subjects, but
mm,
whatever things you know, just engage your child with the textbooks that are available and seek for support. If you have a phone, there's a new concept, you can call a teacher, you can call someone to help you to be able to explain that concept over the phone to the
yeah.
child. Or you might have somebody around you that might be knowledgeable in that. My point is that you as a parent must take that responsibility for your child. Nobody else is going to. The second thing is that so to really buttress that point is that you must take action. See, when you have made up your mind, when there's a will, there's a way. Let me put
There's
it
a
that way.
way,
So if
exactly.
Yes, if you have it in your heart that you want your child to learn, doors and of opportunities will open to you. You will see those ideas coming, but you must first be willing to take that step to help your child. The second thing is I think it falls down on the government. We've been talking a lot about palliatives, palliatives, and nobody's really talking about palliatives for the educational sector. So we're not
Mm,
talking about money now. You have provided radio, education, but a lot of vulnerable children do not have this opportunity for radio. Why don't you provide those transistor radios for them? That's the
yeah.
palliative they need at that time. So beyond food, if you want them to access education, then you must make the tools available for them to be able to access this. So I think our government should also begin to think in that direction. How do they provide just small transistor radios for homes that the children
Mm,
can begin to access this learning? Because the truth is, if you are providing this opportunity for learning and nobody is accessing it, or more people are not accessing it than the people are accessing it, then it is wasted resources. And everybody should have access. Every child should have access to education. So those are the two things. You help your child as a parent, and I hope the government also has the listening ear to be able to think of those steps they can make to support the educational system during this pandemic.
Yeah, and as I was thinking, I even thought that what about I know in some places they used to do where you have communal, you do things together. What stops the parents coming together and contributing to one small radio, and you all sit together in one place? Because most of them are, let's face it, they all stay in one community, they're all close together. So it doesn't stop somebody from just deciding, okay, let's just form a community of togetherness and help our children with this education. Even one person in the community saying that, okay, my I want to impact by providing my radio,
for
yeah.
somebody to do. But the challenge that exists with that is that we have to be careful. A lot of people do not even understand what social distancing is. And so when you begin to encourage, communal learning, it's like they've gone back to school. And when children that have been away, they find an opportunity. Everybody wants to see their friends. So it's very difficult to explain social distancing in context to the child. They might understand it, but when it comes to really applying what social distancing is, it's really difficult for the child. You will see that the nose mask is on their head. They are trying each other. Oh, I like your color, your own color. So it now becomes introducing another issue. So I like that idea, but we really have to be careful. If that should happen, then we're sure that we're not, introducing another
Yes, I was even thinking about
situation.
because I know a lot of them, they practically live like back to back with each other.
Together, yes.
Exactly. So that's what I was thinking more of. Not that you go to another end and start,
Area.
yes, yes. So as it stands down, as the schools have gone virtual in this learning space, this new era of virtual learning, what do you think are the pros and cons that you feel that has been experienced so far in concerning virtual learning?
I think the key thing is I would say the network issues,
Yeah, and then it's
data for
data.
parents. So you are online. Yes, you're online, you start a class, and then you're moving from one network, A, B, C, and everything is down. So you are in the midst of your class, and your children are saying, we can't hear you, we can't hear, and then you are going in and out of the class. It's very distracting. Sometimes you just end the class, and everybody just goes because you're just tired of trying to connect. Then for parents too, lots of them are shouting out, my data, my data, my data. So it's about affordability for parents, connecting issues. Of course, we have the issues of parents having time as well, because a lot of them have gone back to work. Apart from those that have gone back to work, some are working from home. So, you want to attend to your child, you're thinking of how they are okay, and then you're thinking of the online classes. Some parents have been able to manage it. There are some flexible online classes that you can log in anytime.
Yeah, I think you've gone off.
So
Okay.
you still be able to take your classes. So those has worked for some parents. But I think those are. Can you hear me? Yes, I'm
Yes,
here.
I can hear you now.
I can hear you. Okay. So those are the major issues. I think those are network data, having time, on the part of the parent. And then I think for teachers too, a lot of
Because
them
I
are
was
learning
going to
new
go there.
skills.
Exactly. I was just going to go
They're
there.
learning new skills. They too have their own issues. They have their own children. And so you have your child, you're trying to video a class, and your child is there, your 2-year-old is talking at you, and you have to attend to a class. So all those managing that new era for teachers is also something, because a lot of them, at one time in their life, were just managing to use the WhatsApp. So now they have to use so many apps all at once. But I think it's a welcome development for teachers. It has moved us by force into the area of the tech, and that's just the new phase for education. And I think the ideal teacher should just embrace it and learn as much as you can while you can.
So speaking of the teachers learning, do you think it falls on the teacher as a person or the school that they work with, especially when it comes to private schools?
Okay, so I would start. I think everything rises and falls on leadership. Of course, everyone should also have personal leadership as well. But I think the leadership of the school should, be able to support change management, because there's something happening. It's a change, it's a new experience. I talked about in the beginning how people um, adapts to change or react to change. So the same thing happens to the teachers. This all suddenly comes upon us and they're saying online, online, online. So there will be teachers that will panic, they are confused, or will say, no, 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 this cannot happen. Even from some school owners, till today, they are not ready to provide any online service because they just believe that, well, this is just going to come and it's going to pass. They don't realize that this might come and pass, but this online teaching has actually come to stay, because we don't know the effects of, some parents would most likely, some of them might not even want their children back to school for a while. So they'll be looking for online services. So for parents, for the teacher, I think it will start, the change management should start from the school leadership. Help parents to, first of all, embrace this, teach them new skills. Of course, if they teach them, expose them, do trainings for them, and the teacher does not have self-leadership to be able to practice, to embrace, that's now the responsibility of the teacher. I think another thing that can affect the teacher is also affordability. What do teachers really earn? Let's be truthful to ourselves. A lot of them are just have phones that they're just managing, and so this comes on them. They need to install apps. How much are they earning? They also need to get so much data to be able to fix these classes for the children and zoom in and zoom out. So if they get support from their school, it is better. But all this, it depends on the school. There are very many issues that schools are also dealing with now as regards finance. So it depends on what school is also able to do at this time.
Yeah, speaking of what schools are dealing with, especially with private schools, I know there's this ongoing battle of whether they should pay school fees or not pay school fees. I was even listening to a radio program the other day, and this was the whole issue, and there were these different synopses to the idea. So, what's your take on all this? Because I know both sides have legitimate reasons. One, the school has to pay salary. They have staff, but then the person who has the child is telling you that I've not worked or my business has not done ABC or they are facing salary cuts. So where do you think one can find the balance, or what would you suggest on both sides that would be able to be more effective for the child? Because at the end of the day, the child's welfare is the one that's most important.
Yeah. So I always like to use this quote that it's in the best interest of the child. Anytime I talk to parents and even to teachers, I say, when we are going to have this discussion, know that this discussion is in the best interest of the child, from our side and from your side. I think there has to be collaboration between parents and schools. Let schools, a lot of times, of course, school is a business, but it's a social service. Most schools run as social enterprises. Sincerely, maybe because I run a school myself, I understand the cost that it goes into, running a school. And the truth is that if you put your building to lease, you most likely make more money on that building than running a school. That's just the truth. It's a social service. So if parents, see from that perspective that most school owners, I'm not talking for everyone, but most school owners are running that business because they want to provide that social service. And at this time also, they understand the implication of having that gap in learning for long for children. And so they want to keep on engaging there, because they know that if the gap is too much, by the time they come back, then there's a lot of things that you now be dealing with as a school. So that's one. So of course, schools also should be empathic and know that this is what is happening now. And I'm not expecting that schools should be able to start charging full school fees. We should come to a discussion point and see what best suits the school. So now everybody's schools are different, and the situations and scenarios on those schools are different. There will be people in those schools that actually can afford to pay for the online services. I believe that it's the discussion between the parents, maybe through a parents forum and the school, and let them all come to a mutual understanding why they are doing this and why also parents should pay for the online services. I've heard a lot of parents that say, why should we pay? It should be free. And I'm asking myself, you are saying it should be free. you are feeling bad that your organization or your company is not paying you. So
Yeah.
you also want to transfer that feeling to another teacher
Mhm.
whose payment is determined by
By,
you paying or not.
yeah.
So some of the parents that are actually agitating can afford it. There are
Mm.
organizations that didn't do a pay cut, and you as a parent are now on the front line saying we will not pay. It's unfair because when you bring that up, you are agitating others, and so I just believe that there should be a discussion with the school and the parent and see what works for everyone. So those that cannot pay, I'm sure if you have been in a relationship with the school, there is a way they can work out payment plans for you, how they can discount it. I've heard of some schools that some parents have, paid because they've paid more than they should pay so that they can support other children that cannot afford to pay.
Wow.
So when
Yeah.
you talk as a yeah, when you talk as a family, let me use that word, then we can all come to meet in the middle and do make decisions that will support your children. I know of a family that is in my own school. The woman told me that I work from home, my husband works from home. It's really tiring, doing all that they even work more from home than going to work. But that, and it's difficult for them to now combine online learning, but she told me, Mr. Keller, I'm going to pay because I want you to pay the teachers. So she can afford it and she's
Mm-hmm.
willing to do that. Eventually, of course, she tells me that she still engages the children online at her own pace and makes sure that she engages them however little every day. But you can imagine that I'm just saying that parents also have to be empathic and know that the reason why um, schools are demanding that you pay, however anything it is called, it might just be a technology fee or an online fee. Well, I don't think reasonable schools should ask for a full school fees at this point,
Yeah.
but something to keep the sustainability of the online school, because they are going to incur cost on data. Their teachers are going to incur cost on data, and all the logistics of the platform they are using and all that. Who bears the cost? So I just think that there should be a listening ear on both sides. Have a meeting. Don't be too quick to judge. The school and the parents. And let's just work it all out in the best interest of the child.
Okay. All right. So we're going to go right. Well, this is a program about sickle cell and organization that focus on people with sickle cell. Now, I know generally even growing up, when attending school is always a challenge for people with sickle cell. You
Mm,
miss classes,
mm,
and COVID-19 or no COVID-19, even at home, you're likely going to have your child falling ill.
mm.
How do you think the parents can manage balancing the child being ill and also making sure that their required knowledge or required education?
Mm. So I think that life comes first. So you first take care of your child's health before you even think of learning. So the beautiful thing is, if you have engaged your child in an online school, at least the one we run is such that you can come in and go out at any time. So you have the classes there. Even if your child is ill for a week, all the classes are still there. So once your child is back up and able to start the classes back, you just take it at your own pace, but you can always access the class. So I think for that kind of family, look for an online school that suits you, knowing that
Mm,
at any time you might not be available or your child might not be available to access or to be in the class. So when your child gets back on her feet, she just starts taking the classes one at a time. And of course, you can always engage the teachers. But I think you should first of all just concentrate on your child getting better, than
yeah.
then you can focus on the education. But you can always catch up. When he or she's back on her feet, you're good to go again.
Okay, so what do you feel about those parents? There are some parents who put pressure on their children, especially those living with sickle cell or a
Mm,
health issue. You must be like your mates. You must,
mm,
whereas their
mm,
level of learning may not be as fast. In fact, what I always say is that most of the time, because we're not really physical in that way, we take a lot of more information through what we learn once we get the relevant information. So what you, because everybody's always, oh, you don't do this like that, you don't do that. So, and for people with sickle cell, it's even more, oh, you've missed so many lessons, you've missed this, you did this. Lagbaja has already gone this way. What
Gone
would you?
ahead.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so I always say that every child should learn at his or own pace. And there are different learning styles that children have. No child is the same. That's just the truth. You see, like I always make an analogy. A parent told me one day and said, "Oh, my child is not able to do this, like our mates are doing this." You know, they said, "Really? Ah, that's so sad." Sir, do you know Padia? And I asked him, "Do you know Padia Denuga?" He thought, he said, "Yes." I said, "Do you know that Padia Denuga is your mate?" He was shocked. So it's easy for you as a parent to compare your child with another child. But you don't
Yeah.
want me to compare you to Dangote, or you don't want me to say, "Do you know that Dangote is your mate? Why are you not doing what Dangote is doing?" So let everybody, be at their own pace.
Yeah.
Let them go at their own pace. And the same with children. The truth is that children have different kinds of intelligences. Some
Mm.
have virtual intelligence, the way they reason, the way they are brilliant. Let me use that word. Is different. Some
Yeah.
learn by seeing, some learn by feeling, some learn by moving. So if you say that your child is not catching up, maybe you as a parent or the school has not even discovered the learning style of that child to be able to help that child develop that intelligence. You understand? So every child is brilliant. Every child is a genius. You have not just discovered what that child is best at doing. If that child has come with his own unique gift, and the earlier you identify it, stop
Mm.
comparing them, the better it is for you. You must discover your child. You can do it. A school can help you do it, but somebody has to do it. No children are the same. And the truth is that once you discover what your child is, and you help that child in that path, you see that that child begins to blossom. That child, not everybody has cognitive intelligence. Some have
Exactly.
musical intelligence. Everybody has their own intelligence. Discover it for your child, and you will see that child will shine bright.
Okay. All right. This brings me to the next questions. And there's a tendency for children to get easily distracted. Even I remember there's somewhere that says that our attention span is very short, and for children is even shorter. And what would you say for a parent? Because what they do is that when they feel the child is not focusing, they would bring the stick and feel that's the solution. What practical steps do you think that you do for a child that maybe is not focused at that particular
African mother.
exactly.
Yeah, the typical African mother style. Okay, so I think I'll start by saying that if your child is 2 years old, your 2 year old's attention span will be 2 plus 2. That's the
Mm,
maximum that child can sit is like 4 minutes. So if you expect a 2 year old to just sit to watch a 10 minute, documentary with you, or sit down at the hospital bench or in church without being engaged after that 4 minutes, you are asking for too much. So know what stage your child is. So the age of that child will determine the attention span. Of course, there are
mm,
so many things that you can do to engage your child's attention. And some children, their attention span is actually lower than their age because they've been exposed to some things. So
yeah.
maybe an 8 year old still has an attention span of like a 4 year old. So there are some things that are basically attention stealers. Number one is
Mm.
TV, screen. Screen is an attention stealer. So that's one of the challenges that we might face in this online era. And I just say that
The Netflix and
in
the
our,
other.
so I say in our school that there's a limit to screen that we expose our children to. So our online classes are very short. All the others are add-ons. So like that. So you watch the screen for a particular minute, and then the activities you are supposed to do will now be offline, so that we're
Mm,
not exposing them too much to screen, because that's now what we now begin to face when we get back, and children are not able to concentrate and sit and do lessons in class. So first of all, realize that your child is normal. I always tell people that if you have a child that sits still, a 2-year-old that sits still for 10 minutes, probably there's something wrong with the child. So it's not normal. So your child is actually normal for jumping up. That's so, but what you can do is that you cannot engage that child. So if you are outside, you don't want the child, to start throwing tantrums, look for activities that can engage that child. So you can prepare, like I said, if your child is at home, prepare a routine. Let them know it's nap time, it's reading time, it's lunch time. Let them know what they are expecting in the next phase of time. It will help that child to be more organized, even as a toddler, if you have toddlers at home. So, and it helps children generally to put them on a routine. But if you also notice that your child's attention span is low, there are some activities you can do, to help that child. So if you have a child maybe in the preschool age, and TV has stolen a lot of their attention, there are simple activities you can do to help, the child. You can ask them to tread. You can ask them anything that has to do with eye to hand coordination. So things that they have to focus to be able to do it. So sometimes I pour rice and beans and I say, oh, there was a mistake in the kitchen. I need you to help me separate this for dinner. That activity, takes that child's attention to be able to separate the beans and the rice, even though it's also a pre-writing skill. However, as that child is doing that, separating the beans and the rice, it is helping that child to be able to manage his concentration span. So the activities like that you might engage your child, things that have to do with the eye and the hand, something that the person has to pay attention to will help the child to manage the attention span. Also, engage the child in what the person likes. Help them to manage their energy. Let them play outdoors. If a child is allowed to move about, exercise and use up energy, then that child is better able to concentrate. So give them at least 30 minutes of outdoor play. If you are living in a place that other children are, just try to manage the social distancing. But children need to play. They really need to play. When they play, it helps their brain to develop well. They need to play. They need to run around. It's just part of their development. And if you stop that, you are truncating their healthy brain growth. So they need to do that. Also, manage the kind of food they eat. If you have a very active child, you should not be giving your children fizzy drinks. Things that have sugars, not natural sugars, things like that. Instead of that, give them fruit drinks, that you have made at home, so that that can really help them. So fizzy drinks, all these sugars and all these colored funny drinks, could also affect your child's energy level and make him lose attention.
Okay.
I think those are the things. And then also limit screen time. Don't let them watch. I know this is the time that they can watch TV from morning to night. Manage that time. Give them a specific time
The
to
thing
watch
about
TV.
as parents, sometimes we use it as a way of getting them away from our stress. So don't bother me. We are going to watch TV.
TV is the new babysitter. TV is the new babysitter. But it's not good. It's not good at all for them. There should be screen time and it should be managed effectively. In fact, I advise 30 minutes as a stretch. If they're older, maybe 1 hour at a maximum at a time. So always give that break. If they watch TV for an hour, let them stop, do something else, color, let them paint, let them read stories. There are so many activities they can do. But once they are watching TV, they are not thinking of any creative thing. You're just killing your child's creativity and innovation. I'm not saying that they can't learn from the TV, but give them other activities for them to do. They can color, they can make a painting. That's where you begin to discover, some of their giftings and their talents as well.
Exactly. All right. So if you have any questions, please post it in the group or text your message to 484-0048. All right. So now we're looking at post-COVID. I don't think This is going away anytime soon, but what would you say the teachers, the future teachers, the skills they would need definitely going forward in this new normal, you know?
So I'm telling you now, if I'm going to employ any teacher post-COVID, the first thing is, apart from your educational background, are you techie? What I'll be asking is that what were you doing when we were at home? There were
Yeah,
so many groups coming up. Oh, we're teaching you how to do graphics for free. We're teaching you how to do animation for free. I don't think post-COVID, any teacher should be saying, I don't know how to operate the computer, or I cannot use an app, or I cannot teach online. You are gradually losing your job, because the truth is that we are now having people that are recruiting teachers online. So you realize that by the post-COVID, even a lot of schools will be losing teachers, because some of them already have online students who are not even ready to go back to
exactly.
school. So,
Yeah.
so
Someone
you
was
are
saying
just realizing
that you can employ teachers from outside the country to even teach because it's online.
yes, it's now online. So if you are not techie, you are not up to date with what's happening, you're not honing your skills, learning so much that you can now. By the time post-COVID comes, you won't have a job. That's just the truth. And the truth is that even some teachers have lost their jobs now. They don't know. You can imagine a school that they're already providing online services, and then you are giving excuse, I don't know how to use the app. I don't know. By the time they resume, let's imagine that they need to restructure. You're going to be the first person to be gone. So you as a teacher need to really think about, and the opportunities are here now. There are so many groups, there are so many things. Myself, I've learned that I didn't have to pay for. People are providing those services free. Look for the right network, and gain from that opportunity. Don't just sit down and say, my school did not train me. Train yourself. The opportunities are there, and it
Yeah,
is vast.
yeah. Well, thank you so much. It's been nice having you. Really
It's
an
been a
interesting
pleasure being here.
this issue. And so for parents, education during lockdown is not a no-no. We have to continue providing our kids with the right education, no matter what the challenges are, and not just the
Yeah,
one that they get from school. Life skills, proper skills,
yeah.
because at the end of the day, is what they learn now at this age that
Mm,
help them in future. And for teachers, please improve yourself. No knowledge is lost. Improve
mm,
yourself, go outside of what you know, your normal knowledge,
mm.
and I'm sure you'll be able to be found relevant in whatever aspect you.
Mm.
So once again, thank you, Anu, for
You're
being part of.
welcome. It's a pleasure.
Thank
Pleasure.
you. This
Thank
has
you for having
been
me.
Thank you. This has been the production of Sickle Cell Advocacy and Management Initiative, and it is supported by the Public Affairs section of the U.S. Consulate. Until next week, when we bring you another interesting topic and an very interesting guest. Have a lovely rest of your week. Thank you.